All right, good afternoon. Good afternoon, my friends. Streaming all over the place, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and other places. This message is primarily for network marketing company owners, founders, presidents, CEOs, CSOs, CMOs, any of the C-level executives, maybe not COO, but anybody that's on the sales, marketing, and business development side of the direct selling profession, as well as top industry field leaders. So, all right. Now, granted, if you're not in one of those places, you should listen to this as well. So I spend my days communicating primarily with those two groups of people. And in fact, most of my day is, like I said, talking to top leaders. If I'm not on the phone with the top leader, I'm talking with the president, founder, or CEO. And I had an interesting conversation this morning that sparked my desire to do this live today. And I'm just surprised that there are still companies that exist today and individuals in the field that exist today that are at high levels of earnings that still don't get the importance, the vital importance of recognition. Now, this is one element, right? Depending on how my thoughts go, because I don't script any of these, I may go in a different direction, but it's like, let's just recognize the top leaders, the diamonds, the double diamonds, the black diamonds, the presidentials, the superstar, I don't know, astronauts, whatever, the top echelon, and make sure that they get recognized on stage. But then the rubies, the emeralds, the directs, the whatever the title is, we're just going to skip that because we don't have time for it at our national conference. Do you realize that failure, and this is just, again, this is the tip of the iceberg, failure to publicly recognize those individuals that are hustling that aren't yet at these high level ranks? Like, some people are dying to be recognized. They're like, there's a phrase that's been used quite a bit. Like, people will, I don't know, I'm going to blow the quote, whatever, but it's like, people will die for, I don't know, you somebody can put it in the in the comments. I don't know what it is. They'll die for recognition before. I don't even know what it is, but anyhow, again, that's what happens when you don't plan. I mean, I have a thought plan, but I don't have any of this scripted. So there's still companies that don't get the importance of recognition. And I think to some extent, the reason that is because a lot of times you have people that are running network marketing companies that have zero field experience, none. They're coming from corporate America over here and corporate America there, but they ain't ever been in the field. They never recruited a distributor, made a product sale, and then they're running these companies, and it's such a gigantic failure moment. And so again, I'm aiming this primarily at company owners, top reps, but I think everybody needs to hear this. The absolute crucial, critical importance of recognizing both accomplishments and actions. And I'll make sure for the folks that are newer and not at higher ranks that you will most certainly get value of what I'm going to say today. But it's like, I remember a time, and I'll give you a couple of examples. I'll give you some very specific examples. I was involved in a company like 20 years ago, and one of the, like, you hit this one rank, which was actually, it was the second to highest rank in the company. And they had this watch that they, like, when you hit this rank, they gave you this watch. And the watch was a crazy thing. It wasn't even like a Rolex or a, I mean, that's cool when you can do that, but it wasn't even some expensive watch. It was like I think the cost on that watch was probably $500. But everybody who was looking to achieve that rank, they knew that when they hit that rank, they were going to get that watch. They knew it. Everybody in the company knew it. And it's again, not a big cost. I know companies that when you hit ranks, they'll give you like a gold Rolex Yachtmaster, for whatever the position is, or any other kind of cool thing like that. But this watch is like $500 retail. Now I remember this a couple. It's weird. Like as I'm doing this, there's little thoughts that are coming up. This friend of mine hits this rank, and unfortunately, the person that was in charge of recognition for this company at the time, she had never been in the field. She had never built any network marketing business, and she is like literally in charge of recognition. There was no, and by the way, there was not a bunch of people hitting this rank. It's not like it happens every day. It's like probably the only person that hit that rank that month. And this girl goes in there or this guy hits the rank. He already knows, like, cool, I'm getting the watch. And he knows it needs to be mailed. So first of all, there was no like, oh, congratulations, attaboy, you hit the rank. No, there was 0 of that, first of all, which is a total miss. Like the moment they hit the rank and it chimes off in your computer system, you guys better be making a big deal about it. By the way, field leaders should be doing this as well. That's why it's aimed at field leaders. I mean, you should be making a big deal out of the fact that they hit this rank. And I'm going to go into a couple different directions here. So it's 2 weeks later, and this is when I was actually working in this company at the time. Again, this is like 20 years ago. The guy hits the rank, and he calls me up like 2 weeks later. He goes, "Hey, when do I get the watch?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's supposed to be, I'm sure it's coming soon." It was like a month later. And like now the guy's losing his motivation. He's like, he was like, it's $500 watch. I could have gone and busted out and bought him a better watch, but he wanted that watch. And it's still not coming. I had to call the president of the company. I'm like, dude, like, okay, there's something wrong in your recognition department, because in fact, I ended up talking to the girl that was in charge of recognition. I'm like, hey, where's the watch? Everybody in the company knows when you hit that rank, you're getting that watch. It's over a month now. The guy has not got the watch. And she's like, "Oh, well, we're getting to it." I'm like, "You're getting to it? Is the watch company out of inventory?" She's like, "Oh no." I'm like, and I came to the realization, because I didn't know that she had 0 experience. So I think people that are that are working with the field, like that's another thing. By the way, if you are a network marketing company owner, C-level executive, and you want somebody to help you from the standpoint of like being a liaison between corporate and the field, I'm for hire. I don't want a job, but I would most certainly be willing to help you, because I have a very unique ability to be able to effectively communicate with corporate as well as field leaders to help make sure that everything goes smoothly. It's not us versus them. Even as I say this, I just talked to another guy that owned a company for many years. And we were talking about this, even though as we say, like, it's not us versus them. Yeah, it is. A lot of times, unfortunately, it's us versus them. And unfortunately, it shouldn't be that way, but a lot of times it is. Yet you have your marketing arm. The only reason that you're doing 100 million in sales or 50 million or whatever million in sales is because of all those hardworking people that are out there as independent distributors in the field, busting their chops to go grow a business. That's why you chose network marketing as a distribution model to sell whatever it is that you're selling. And they're all out there hustling, taking time away from their families, working their butts off and building a business, and then to fail to recognize, like, it's just unbelievable to me that companies still, that they're still not getting it. Because the conversation I had this morning, which was a long one with a dear friend of mine. Here's another example. There's a woman that was in a company, and she had never done network marketing before. And she's so excited, like beyond imagination, because she's going to be able to walk across the stage at their national conference, and she's going to put on her best dress and do this whole thing. And like, she's so excited. And come to find out, well, we're not going to recognize that rank at the conference this year. And it's like, wait a minute, like this woman's been waiting her entire life for that moment. And this is not even individual stage time. This is like, a lower level rank where they're like, hey, wave, walk across, hug, walk across, hug, walk across. This is like, how could you not reserve time for something that's so important? And I think there's just, because I know the people that run this company, I think there's just a lack of understanding of what matters the most when it comes to motivating your field force to do more. And it's just so unfortunate to hear that continues to go on. And you guys that are running companies, I'm serious, like you need to really fully understand how delicate, how fragile momentum is in your company. Because any little seed of doubt, it's like, why is it? It just is the way it is. Like negative stuff tends to travel much faster than positive stuff. It just is the way it is. And the moment, like the tiniest, like, it's like what they say, the Bible says faith the size of a mustard seed will move a mountain. If you have a tiny amount of doubt and that doubt like gets dropped into your organization, it will fester, it will grow, and all that momentum and all that growth and all that upward movement will disappear in an instant. And the thing is, and this is where I come in, okay? Like a lot of times they won't communicate with you because they're afraid to. They're not going to say, hey, can you change this or can we do this? Because they're afraid of being cast out and not part of the cool kids club anymore, or not, we're just going to ignore you now because you had a complaint, for example. And let me also say this, most of the time from my experience, because my experience is really only on the field side, okay? I've never worked for a network marketing company, nor do I plan to. So from that standpoint, just so you understand, I'm not for hire. I'm not going to work for a network marketing company, but you can get me on retainer. And if you don't have a situation where distributors can freely, without being blasted, communicate frustrations or challenges, where, and again, I get it that like you open up a complaint department and it's a bunch of complaints. You're like, I'm tired of hearing the complaints. All I hear is complaints. I've been there. I've seen that. But when you have a high level distributor that's reaching out to you and is expressing concern, and they're a producer, you should be paying attention to that. It's like, this isn't working. We need it's like volume is dissipating. There's issues. People aren't ranking, whatever they are, any combination of things. They're not calling you to complain because like things are going great. The only time we call customer service, right? When do you call customer service? When you got a problem. Nobody calls customer service and say, hey man, thanks for doing a great job. I mean, and customer service people, man, all they hear is the negative stuff. Nobody ever, don't even tell me you do. You don't call customer service, hey man, love you guys, you're doing a great job. You should. But they're dealing with, they're problem solvers. So if you create a better customer experience, then you're going to have less of issues having to deal with customer service, which is problem focused. So again, that's a completely different live altogether. But I just would like for you at whatever level that you're at, and let me just talk to you for a second. Those of you that are in the field, mid-level leaders, new, you got to understand that it's your job. It's both the job of the company and you, the upline representative, upline leader, to recognize accomplishments, big or small. The tiniest of accomplishment. Somebody hustled for 2 weeks to make a product sale, and they made their first product sale, and they've never been in network marketing before. And it took them, 2 weeks to sell. I don't know. Let's say your stuff let's say you got shakes and it comes in a box of 30 individual servings, and they haven't even sold a box, but they sold one sachet, one envelope worth of a shake to somebody for $2. And it took them 2 weeks to do it, but they made their first sale. That's a big deal for them. Maybe not you, because you sell so many shakes a month. You're like the shake king or queen, in the company. You sell 100 boxes a week. This person sold one sachet. It was a big deal for them. If you don't make a big deal about it, or at the very least recognize it and say, Sarah, Susie, Sandy, Tom, Bill, whatever it is, congratulations, great job. You made your first sale. I'm so proud of you. They will tend to back off. And so recognizing effort, I've look back in the day when we were doing in-homes and stuff like that, and that was like the primary methodology. or briefings. I actually grew up at a kind of a briefing, business briefing, Monday through Friday, 1 o'clock, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday night, on Saturdays. I would have people invite, a bunch of folks to the meeting, to the business briefing, and then nobody would show up, and they would feel so down on themselves, like, oh, I'm a failure. And I'd be like, brother, you're not a failure. You invited 10 people, man. Great job. Let's go invite 10 more. And I've done meetings. I've done in-homes before where somebody invited a launch, an in-home launch, where they invited whatever, let's call it 10 people, and nobody showed. And they're sitting there. They got appetizers, drinks. They got it all dialed in and ready. They're so excited to launch their business, and nobody shows up, and they think that they're a complete failure. And you might be like, if you're the upline that goes, dude, I'm out of here. That would never be me. I'm like, hey, let's do you know what? Who cares that nobody showed up? You did the invites. You did the setup. Let's roll through the presentation and act like there's people here and make them feel successful, because quite frankly, them making the effort and taking the action is a degree of success. And if we don't recognize those things, then it's a huge miss. And so it's just like, I've been doing this for so long, and I have a very deep understanding of what works and what does not work when it comes to network marketing. And when we don't understand the importance of recognition, that's a massive miss. There's another company that I've done business with, their team leaders. This company has never done a single conference. And I get it. It's expensive. And, we're past that C blank VID phase. And, we learned to do it without it. There's nothing that will ever replace getting in a room with a group of people. No Zoom meeting, even with bells and whistles and a tech team in the background, making sounds and doing music and doing transitions. And even if you did a professional Zoom, it ain't ever going to replace hugs and high fives and sitting there taking notes and being around, and then having a chance to get your plaque or your attaboy, attagirl on stage because you hit the first rank in the company, even if there's 500 of those people that you got to walk across the stage. Have you ever seen, let me say this, have you ever looked at the expressions of the faces on the people that have hit the tiniest rank in your company? Have you ever done that? I'm company owners. Next time you run 500 people across your stage, look at the expressions on their faces as they're lining up on both sides of the stage to just get a chance to walk up on the stage and get some little piece of paper or little plaque and be able to hug and do a quick picture. Even if that picture doesn't take place because you're rolling so many people across the stage, their husband or their wife will be right there in front taking the picture, and the rest of their upline leaders. I've seen it a million times. That might be getting a clue that you're like, wow, maybe it doesn't impress you. Maybe it doesn't excite you. Like, honestly, at this point, I don't need the recognition. I don't really if I was like in the field building a company, like doing the deal, I don't even want to be on stage. I'd rather have everybody else on the team be on stage versus myself. But I'm also, eons in the business, and I've had enough recognition. Now, as a speaker, I have to be on stage. So it just goes with the territory. So I have to be on stage. Can't get away from that. But again, I'm in this point, I want to drive this point hard. No matter what level you're brand new and you got 2 team members, you should be recognizing their hard work. They hit a rank, you should recognize it. And the recognition should coincide with the level that they're at. Somebody hits let's call it the top position in the company is like black diamond, triple black diamond, which they got to be making you as a company owner tons of money. They're making a ton of money, and you give them a tiny little glass carving. I mean, that's better than nothing. Okay. I'll give you that. But don't you think they deserve something bigger? Give them something to strive for. I mean, I like nice watches. It'd be cool if like, hey, I hit, double presidential, triple, whatever, and I get some $10,000 watch. That would make me work hard for something like that. I mean, how much did you make all the way up to that person hitting that rank? And the other thing that this is another one. If they hit the rank, and I'm talking specifically about an achievement here, if they hit the rank, then you darn well better make sure that it's recognized fast, not 2 weeks later, not a month later, not we'll get around to it when we feel like it, whenever we feel like going out and buying another cheap $500 watch. Because they're already backing up. And here's another one, okay? If you run contests, okay, which are great. You run contests, you run incentives. I think that's a beautiful thing. You know, you would think that as a company owner, which I've never been, and I know I won't be. I'll state that into existence right here and now. I'm never going to run a network marketing. I'm never going to own a network marketing company. I ain't going to delete this video. I just have no interest in it. I love to be at home and be on stages and traveling around working with people in the field. If you run an incentive, like I'm thinking specifically about an incentive, check this out. So this company runs they run this recruiting incentive. This woman out of Australia. So the company was doing business in US, Canada, and Australia at the time. This woman hustles, and I don't know the exact number, but it was in the 40s. She personally enrolled like 40 something people. It was somewhere between like 41 and 49. Let's call it that. Let's go right in the middle. It was 45. I don't remember the exact number, but I remember it was in the 40s, which was a pretty good number. 40 new recruits that bought a particular package. She is so excited because as the winner, she's going to get a ticket to their national conference and round trip airfare. I mean, she is beside herself. The conference is in the United States. I've flown to Australia many times. And yes, flying from Orlando to Las Vegas for a conference, which these days is probably $500-600 round trip coach. A round trip coach from Sydney, Australia to Las Vegas is probably $1,500 to $2,000, probably closer to $2,000. The company comes back. They did not say this, by the way, in their fine print. Well, we're only going to cover up to $800 of airfare. It wasn't in the fine print at all. And so this girl who was so on fire, so incredibly on fire with this company. I mean, she loved it. She was on fire. Yet another one that happened to be in my team. So that's why I can tell this story intimately. The company was like, well, I'm sorry, you're in Australia. We're not going to cover your airfare. They weren't going to cover any of it because she lived in Australia. I mean, okay, well, what happens if somebody in Orlando won and they had to fly from Orlando? You're not going to at least cover the $500? I mean, if you're going to run a contest, make sure you're super clear on what it is. And there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, we'll cover your airfare up to $1,000. There's nothing wrong with that. And had she known that, she'd have been like, cool, I got $1,000 of my $1,500 airfare covered. She quit the business. I don't know that she ever got back into network marketing. So again, I could give you countless examples. If you need help, I'm right here. I'm an email away. I'm a phone call away. More than happy to be a liaison between the field and the corporate team. And you gotta get this stuff dialed in. And I have this very unique ability to get along with pretty much everybody, and I can communicate the message. So I'm putting that out there. But again, regardless, I think it's important to pay attention to what I said: mid-level leader, high-level field leader. And then let me lastly say this: if you're a network marketing company that only makes a big deal about the biggest people in the deal, you're missing out, because you're missing out on continuing to provide motivation for the people that right now are rising through rank. They haven't hit that big rank yet, but if you're waiting till they just hit that big rank before you make a big deal, I think it's a crucial mistake. And I've seen it happen so many times. And guess what? They don't tell you. They won't tell corporate, but they'll tell me. My wife literally calls me. You know what my nickname is? The network marketing therapist. No joke. If I brought her up from downstairs right now, she'd be like, yep. Why? Because I have some of the biggest leaders in the network marketing space that will call me and share their personal stuff with me about what's going on, because they know I don't kiss and tell. That whatever they share with me is private and is always private. And so I've become like a very trusty source where they can come here and say, hey man, I'm having struggles with this, or this is going on. And I would say at least once a week for the last 15 plus years, I'm getting at least one phone call a week from somebody who needs help. And the help that I provide on these things, it's not like, hey, you need to pay me $1,000 before I talk to you. I don't pull that crap. I mean, this is like, I'm the in this case, when somebody calls for my help, I'm the free network marketing therapist. Now, I'm not doing this live, so it's all of a sudden I get a bunch of phone calls, but people that I know that know me that need, I don't want to say a shoulder to cry on because it's typically not tears, but they need somebody that they can bounce something off because I have a degree of objectivity. They end up coming to me. And so a lot of the things that I hear, I'm like, man, corporate should know about that stuff, but they don't. Because they're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you. And what does that do? It causes your business, your company to suffer. Less sales, less duplication, just less of everything. And again, I mean, there are some amazing companies that do an incredibly great job at that. I mean, some companies are absolutely amazing at it. So I don't know. You'll have to just ask yourself, are we doing as good a job as we can be when it comes to recognition and rewards and making people feel loved on, or are we missing? And you may, honestly, I think some of these companies don't even know they're missing. So it's kind of like, I don't know, the message might fall on deaf ears. I don't know. Cause I think that, and there's two companies I can think of right now where I know the people that are running on corporate, they don't even understand. They don't even know. They don't even know because they come from only corporate. And you would only know the importance of it if you've been in the field and built a team. And you could say, yeah, I can relate to that. No, you can't. You can't relate to it unless you've got a distributor kit, signed up, started calling people, started reaching out, started building a team, and did it for long enough to know all the wonderful, amazing things and some of the frustrations that go along with it. So anyhow, yep. Those are my thoughts for the day. I hope you guys are doing good. And I'm out. We'll see you.